In an era marked by rapid technological advancement, global interconnectedness, and heightened public scrutiny, crisis management and brand resilience have emerged as critical pillars for organizational survival and growth. The modern business landscape is fraught with unpredictable challenges, ranging from cyber attacks and product recalls to social media backlash and geopolitical tensions. In such a volatile environment, the ability of an organization to anticipate, respond to, and recover from crises not only determines its immediate survival, but also shapes its long-term reputation and competitive advantage. This intricate interplay between crisis management and brand resilience forms the backbone of sustainable business success. Crisis management, at its core, refers to the systematic approach organizations adopt to prepare for, respond to, and recover from disruptive events that threaten their stakeholders, operations, or reputation. It encompasses a wide spectrum of activities, including risk assessment, contingency planning, communication strategies, and post-crisis evaluation. The objective is not merely to contain damage, but to emerge stronger, having learned from adversity. Brand resilience, on the other hand, is the capacity of a brand to absorb shocks, adapt to changing circumstances, and maintain or even enhance its value proposition in the eyes of consumers and other stakeholders. It is the invisible armor that shields a brand from the corrosive effects of crises, enabling it to rebound and thrive. The symbiotic relationship between crisis management and brand resilience is evident in the way organizations prepare for and navigate turbulent times. Effective crisis management lays the groundwork for brand resilience by fostering a culture of preparedness, agility, and transparency. Conversely, a resilient brand bolsters crisis management efforts by engendering stakeholder trust, loyalty, and goodwill, valuable assets in times of uncertainty. Together, they form a virtuous cycle. Proactive crisis management strengthens brand resilience, while a resilient brand enhances the efficacy of crisis management. To appreciate the nuances of this relationship, it is essential to examine the anatomy of a crisis and the multifaceted challenges it presents. Crises are, by nature, unpredictable and often escalate rapidly, leaving little room for improvisation. They can originate from internal factors such as operational failures, ethical lapses, or leadership missteps, as well as external triggers like natural disasters, regulatory changes, or malicious attacks. The impact of a crisis extends beyond immediate financial losses. It can erode stakeholder confidence, tarnish reputations, and trigger long-term strategic setbacks. In some cases, organizations never fully recover, succumbing to the cumulative weight of lost trust and diminished brand equity. Given these high stakes, the imperative for robust crisis management cannot be overstated. The process typically unfolds in 3 phases: pre-crisis, crisis response, and post-crisis recovery. The pre-crisis phase involves identifying potential threats, assessing vulnerabilities, and developing contingency plans. This proactive stance is crucial as it enables organizations to anticipate risks and allocate resources effectively. Scenario planning, risk mapping, and regular drills are integral components of this phase, ensuring that teams are prepared to act swiftly and decisively when a crisis strikes. The crisis response phase is characterized by rapid decision-making, clear communication, and coordinated action. Time is of the essence, as delays can exacerbate the situation and fuel speculation. Organizations must strike a delicate balance between gathering accurate information and acting promptly. Transparent communication with stakeholders, including employees, customers, regulators, and the media, is paramount. Mixed messages or perceived evasiveness can undermine credibility and deepen the crisis. The most effective responses are those that acknowledge the issue, take responsibility where appropriate, and outline concrete steps to address the problem. The post-crisis recovery phase focuses on learning, adaptation, and restoration. Organizations conduct thorough reviews to identify root causes, assess the effectiveness of their response, and implement corrective measures. This phase is also an opportunity to rebuild trust and reinforce brand values. Stakeholders judge organizations not only by how they handle crises, but also by the lessons they draw and the improvements they make. Public apologies, compensation, and meaningful reforms can help repair damaged relationships and restore confidence. Brand resilience is both a product and a driver of effective crisis management. It is built over time through consistent delivery of value, ethical conduct, and authentic engagement with stakeholders. Resilient brands have a reservoir of goodwill that acts as a buffer during crises. Consumers are more forgiving of missteps when they perceive a brand as trustworthy, responsible, and aligned with their values. This reservoir is not infinite, however. Repeated or egregious failures can deplete it, underscoring the importance of sustained commitment to integrity and excellence. Several factors contribute to brand resilience. First and foremost is organizational culture. A culture that prioritizes accountability, innovation, and continuous improvement is better equipped to weather storms. Such cultures encourage employees to speak up about potential risks, share ideas for mitigation, and collaborate across functions. Leadership plays a pivotal role in setting the tone, modeling desired behaviors, and making tough decisions under pressure. Leaders who communicate openly, admit mistakes, and demonstrate empathy foster trust and loyalty. Another key element is stakeholder engagement. Brands that maintain open channels of communication with customers, employees, investors, and communities are more attuned to emerging issues and better positioned to respond effectively. Engagement is not a one-way street. It involves listening, soliciting feedback, and acting on concerns. Social media has amplified the power of stakeholder voices, making it imperative for brands to monitor sentiment, address grievances promptly, and participate in meaningful dialogue. Innovation and adaptability also underpin brand resilience. The ability to pivot in response to changing circumstances, whether by adjusting business models, launching new products, or embracing digital transformation, enables brands to stay relevant and competitive. Crises often accelerate trends and disrupt established norms. Resilient brands view such disruptions as opportunities for reinvention rather than existential threats. For example, during the COVID-19 pandemic, many companies rapidly transitioned to remote work, expanded e-commerce capabilities, and introduced new health and safety protocols. Those that adapted quickly not only survived, but often gained market share. Trust is the currency of brand resilience. It is earned through consistent actions that align with stated values and promises. Trust is fragile, however, and can be shattered by a single misstep. Restoring trust after a crisis requires more than words. It demands visible, sustained action. Apologies must be sincere, compensation fair, and reforms substantive. Brands that succeed in rebuilding trust often emerge stronger, having demonstrated their commitment to doing the right thing even in the face of adversity. The digital age has transformed the dynamics of crisis management and brand resilience. Information travels at lightning speed, and public opinion can shift in an instant. Social media platforms amplify both praise and criticism, creating a 24/7 feedback loop that leaves little margin for error. In this environment, traditional approaches to crisis management, characterized by tightly controlled messaging and hierarchical decision-making, are often inadequate. Agility, transparency, and authenticity have become non-negotiable attributes. Digital tools also offer new opportunities for proactive risk management and stakeholder engagement. Advanced analytics, artificial intelligence, and real-time monitoring enable organizations to detect emerging threats, track sentiment, and tailor responses with unprecedented precision. Crisis simulations and scenario planning can be enhanced with virtual reality and data-driven insights, improving preparedness and response capabilities. However, technology is a double-edged sword. It can both mitigate and magnify risks, depending on how it is leveraged. Case studies abound of organizations that have navigated crises with varying degrees of success. Some have faltered due to denial, delay, or poor communication, suffering lasting damage to their brands. Others have demonstrated remarkable resilience, turning adversity into an opportunity for renewal. For instance, Johnson & Johnson's handling of the Tylenol tampering crisis in the 1980s is widely regarded as a gold standard in crisis management. The company's swift recall of millions of bottles, transparent communication, and introduction of tamper-proof packaging not only restored public confidence, but also set new industry standards. Conversely, the 2010 Deepwater Horizon oil spill inflicted severe reputational harm on BP, due in part to perceived evasiveness, inadequate response, and insensitive remarks by leadership. The company's struggles to regain trust highlight the perils of mismanaging stakeholder expectations and underestimating the emotional impact of crises. More recently, brands such as Starbucks and Nike have faced social media firestorms over issues ranging from racial bias to labor practices. Their responses, ranging from public apologies and policy reforms to high-profile campaigns, underscore the importance of aligning crisis management with broader brand values. Preparation is the cornerstone of effective crisis management and brand resilience. Organizations must invest in comprehensive risk assessments, identifying not only obvious threats, but also less apparent vulnerabilities. This requires cross-functional collaboration, as risks often span multiple domains: operational, financial, reputational, and regulatory. Regular scenario planning exercises help teams anticipate a range of possibilities and develop playbooks for different types of crises. These exercises should be dynamic, incorporating lessons learned from past incidents and evolving external conditions. Communication is another critical dimension. Clear, consistent, and timely communication can prevent rumors, reassure stakeholders, and shape the narrative. Communication plans should designate spokespersons, outline key messages, and establish protocols for engaging with the media and the public. In the digital era, social media monitoring and rapid response teams are essential to counter misinformation and engage directly with audiences. Internal communication is equally important. Employees must be kept informed, empowered to act, and reassured about their roles and the organization's direction. Leadership is tested most severely during crises. Leaders must remain calm under pressure, make difficult decisions with incomplete information, and project confidence without minimizing the gravity of the situation. Authenticity and empathy are invaluable. Stakeholders want to see leaders who care, take responsibility, and are committed to making things right. Leadership succession planning is also vital, as crises can expose gaps in talent and decision-making capacity. Resilience is not static. It must be cultivated continuously. Organizations should institutionalize mechanisms for learning and adaptation, such as after-action reviews, knowledge sharing, and ongoing training. Building a resilient brand is a long-term endeavor that requires alignment between strategy, culture, and operations. It involves embedding risk awareness into decision-making processes, rewarding proactive behavior, and fostering a mindset of continuous improvement. The role of corporate social responsibility, CSR, in brand resilience is increasingly prominent. Brands that are seen as socially responsible enjoy higher levels of trust and loyalty, which can be invaluable during crises. CSR initiatives, ranging from environmental sustainability and ethical sourcing to community engagement and diversity, signal a brand's commitment to broader societal values. During crises, these commitments are put to the test. Stakeholders scrutinize whether brands live up to their promises or merely pay lip service. Authentic, sustained CSR efforts can provide a reservoir of goodwill that helps brands weather storms. Employee engagement is another pillar of resilience. Employees are often the first line of defense in a crisis, detecting early warning signs, implementing response plans, and interacting with customers. Engaged employees are more likely to go above and beyond, demonstrating commitment and creativity under pressure. Organizations should invest in training, empower employees to make decisions, and recognize their contributions. A strong sense of purpose and belonging fosters loyalty and resilience at both the individual and organizational levels. Supply chain resilience is also critical, as crises frequently disrupt global supply networks. Organizations must map their supply chains, identify critical dependencies, and develop contingency plans for alternative sourcing and logistics. Diversification, digitalization, and collaboration with suppliers can enhance flexibility and reduce vulnerability to shocks. The COVID-19 pandemic exposed the fragility of many supply chains, prompting a renewed focus on resilience and agility. Reputation management is a central component of brand resilience. Reputation is built over years but can be destroyed in moments. Proactive reputation management involves monitoring public sentiment, responding to feedback, and addressing issues before they escalate. Crisis communication should be guided by principles of honesty, clarity, and empathy. Brands should avoid defensiveness and focus on solutions, demonstrating a genuine commitment to stakeholders' interests. Legal and regulatory compliance is another area of concern. Crises often attract scrutiny from regulators, legislators, and advocacy groups. Non-compliance can compound reputational damage and result in legal penalties. Organizations should ensure that their crisis management plans incorporate legal counsel and compliance expertise, enabling them to navigate complex regulatory environments and minimize exposure. Resilience also extends to financial management. Crises can strain liquidity, disrupt revenue streams, and necessitate costly remediation. Financial resilience involves maintaining adequate reserves, diversifying income sources, and securing access to credit. Scenario planning should include financial stress tests and contingency funding arrangements. Transparent communication with investors and creditors is essential to maintain confidence and support. The human dimension of crisis management and brand resilience should not be overlooked. Crises are stressful, emotionally charged events that can take a toll on employees, leaders, and stakeholders. Organizations should prioritize mental health and well-being, providing support services and fostering a culture of compassion. Psychological safety encourages openness, learning, and innovation, key ingredients of resilience. Globalization adds another layer of complexity. Multinational organizations must navigate diverse cultural, legal, and regulatory landscapes, tailoring their crisis management and resilience strategies accordingly. What works in one market may not be effective in another. Local context matters. Cross-cultural competence, decentralized decision-making, and strong local partnerships enhance the ability to respond effectively to crises in different regions. The rise of purpose-driven brands has reshaped expectations around crisis management and resilience. Consumers increasingly expect brands to stand for something beyond profit, whether it is environmental stewardship, social justice, or ethical innovation. Purpose provides a North Star that guides decision-making and communication during crises. Brands with a clear, authentic purpose are better equipped to navigate turbulence as stakeholders rally around shared values. Measurement and accountability are essential for continuous improvement. Organizations should establish metrics to assess the effectiveness of their crisis management and resilience efforts. These may include response times, stakeholder satisfaction, reputation scores, and financial performance. Regular audits, benchmarking, and third-party assessments provide valuable feedback and drive progress. Partnerships and collaboration are powerful enablers of resilience. No organization operates in isolation. Networks of partners, suppliers, industry associations, and government agencies can provide resources, expertise, and support during crises. Collaborative initiatives, such as industry-wide safety standards, joint crisis drills, or data-sharing platforms, enhance collective resilience and reduce systemic risks. Education and training are foundational to building crisis-ready organizations. Crisis management should be integrated into leadership development, onboarding, and ongoing professional development programs. Simulations, workshops, and scenario-based learning foster critical thinking, teamwork, and adaptability. Continuous learning ensures that organizations remain agile and responsive in a rapidly changing environment. Technology will continue to shape the future of crisis management and brand resilience. Emerging technologies, such as blockchain, the Internet of Things, and advanced analytics, offer new tools for risk detection, response coordination, and stakeholder engagement. However, they also introduce new vulnerabilities, from cyber threats to data breaches. Organizations must strike a balance between leveraging technology for resilience and managing the risks it entails. Diversity and inclusion are increasingly recognized as drivers of resilience. Diverse teams bring a wider range of perspectives, experiences, and problem-solving approaches, enhancing creativity and adaptability. Inclusive cultures encourage open dialogue, challenge groupthink, and foster a sense of belonging. During crises, diverse teams are better equipped to navigate complexity and respond to the needs of varied stakeholders. Environmental, social, and governance (ESG) considerations are becoming central to brand resilience. Investors, consumers, and regulators are demanding greater transparency and accountability in how organizations manage ESG risks and opportunities. Integrating ESG into crisis management and resilience strategies enhances credibility, attracts investment, and aligns with evolving stakeholder expectations. Scenario analysis and horizon scanning are valuable tools for anticipating emerging risks and opportunities. By systematically exploring plausible futures, organizations can identify blind spots, stress test assumptions, and develop robust strategies. Scenario planning should be an ongoing process informed by external trends, stakeholder input, and lessons from past crises. The role of boards of directors in crisis management and brand resilience is critical. Boards provide oversight, strategic guidance, and accountability. They should ensure that organizations have robust crisis management frameworks, clear lines of responsibility, and mechanisms for monitoring and reporting. Board diversity, independence, and expertise enhance governance and resilience. Public-private partnerships can play a vital role in managing systemic crises, such as pandemics, natural disasters, or Cyber attacks. Collaboration between government, industry, and civil society enables coordinated responses, resource sharing, and rapid innovation. Public policy frameworks that incentivize resilience through regulation, funding, or information sharing strengthen the broader ecosystem. Media relations are a double-edged sword in crisis management. Positive media coverage can amplify recovery efforts, while negative coverage can prolong and intensify crises. Building constructive relationships with journalists, providing timely and accurate information, and being accessible during crises are essential. Media training for spokespersons ensures that messages are delivered clearly and confidently. Consumer activism is reshaping the landscape of brand resilience. Empowered by digital platforms, consumers can mobilize quickly to demand accountability, boycott products, or advocate for change. Brands must listen, engage, and respond authentically to consumer concerns. Proactive engagement, transparency, and a willingness to adapt are essential for maintaining relevance and trust. Resilience is not the absence of vulnerability, but the ability to recover and adapt. Organizations should embrace a growth mindset, viewing crises as opportunities for learning and transformation. The stories of brands that have emerged stronger from adversity share common themes: humility, courage, innovation, and a relentless focus on stakeholders. In conclusion, crisis management and brand resilience are inextricably linked, forming the foundation for organizational sustainability in an unpredictable world. Effective crisis management requires preparation, agility, transparent communication, and decisive leadership. Brand resilience is built over time through consistent delivery of value, ethical conduct, stakeholder engagement, and continuous learning. Together, they enable organizations to navigate turbulence, recover from setbacks, and seize new opportunities. As the pace of change accelerates and the stakes grow higher, the imperative for robust crisis management and resilient brands has never been greater. By investing in these capabilities, organizations can not only survive crises, but emerge stronger, more trusted, and better positioned for long-term success.